You're in the Business Insurance Zone with me, Steve Savant, national insurance columnist and financial color commentator. And all this week, we're doing our series on building your business and protecting your practice. And today, we're going to be talking about the rules of engagement with attorney David F. Sterling.
When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Well, welcome everyone to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm your host, Steve Savant, and we're broadcasting live to a nationwide audience of financial advisors right here in Fountain Hills, Arizona, home of America's largest fountain. And today with me, serious critique of all that is the law, David F. Sterling, licensed attorney and consultant, and I'm happy to say, actually licensed in our business. Welcome to our show, David.
Great to be here. Thank you.
I'm telling you, I've seen David's blogs. I've read some of his white papers, which looks like something that came off Mount Sinai. I mean, we're talking about a person here that really understands our business. Now, I have to say, I don't get too many, and I don't know if David really likes this word, fiduciaries. I don't get too many fiduciaries on the show that actually understand and get our business. But David's one of them. And think about this. I mean, David, I'm looking here. You're co-chair of the American Bar Insurance and Financial Committee, and you've been on that, and you're also with, you've been a recipient of the American Jurisprudence Award in Estate Planning, and you've been a frequent presenter at the Florida Bar, and you're an advocate for everything that is life and annuities.
Insurance, it's great stuff. Let's get real simple about it.
I know, and I'm in shock. And I think to have a person of your quality and education, and more than that, you really are one of our biggest advocates out there, and I am always taken back by how much negative press we have, and you're one of the people that are really trumpeting, and you're carrying our banner into a whole sea of fiduciary contacts that we will never see, never be able to approach.
You know, that's a great point, and I joke at times, but I am amazed, absolutely amazed at who's going to pop up next looking to take us out. Now, when I say us, I put myself right into that category of producer, because there are those who have us in the crosshairs, and I'm just fed up.
Well, you're on the right show for this, because we have really tried to respond to many of the magazine articles, whether it's Forbes, Fortune, whatever the financial trade magazines are, for whatever their disposition and bias against us, which I find I can't understand what the issues are. Every industry has their own bad apples. We're all going to have that. Doesn't matter where you are. Bad attorneys, bad CPAs. It just is what it is.
Well, I think we're at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh.
The attorneys? Absolutely.
When I think about the rules of engagement for us today, we are living in probably the greatest litigation scenario, in society that I've ever been involved in my life. And what bothers me is that that's my problem. You have a solution, which is really exciting, because we're talking about the rules of engagement and how can I actually engage clients and protect my practice, build my business.
There are two elements that you just addressed. Like it or not, it is a tough environment. We're not just talking about litigation. It's often the case there's an inclination to go to the worst case scenario, which is litigation. But it's all the steps in between that lead up to that, whether it be compliance issues or administrative sanctions. The other point that I think is absolutely critical, there are steps that can be taken, and I like the phrasing of rules of engagement, because it all starts at street level. How do I interact with a client in such a manner to deliver what I'm capable of delivering and staying out of harm's way?
Now here, David, I know that you're down on this phrase because it's all over the net. Best practices.
Get rid of it.
Yeah. Why are you so down on it?
I know that's tough. I guess I'm really nervous about the word best. Now, everybody, it's a natural human inclination to claim higher ground. Fine. The intent is there to do what's best for the client. I would just ask for our industry, speaking on behalf of the producer, that we endeavor to serve the clients as well as we can. That enables us the flexibility to take into consideration the compliance elements that we can really align how we work with the client in that way. It allows us to take control of how we're going to be held accountable. So I don't know what the other phrasing is as far as best practices, but I'd like to step back and redefine what that engagement looks at. You're the master guru as far as coming up with the terms. I'll leave that to you.
Well, then I'm just thinking that the suggestion you're making a huge suggestion for our practice. Hey, listen, this word best is making a statement, whether we like it or not. And it's like we are saying that we understand and are propagating the best way to approach something. And I would rather endeavor to try to do the best for the client rather than make statements like that really are most of the time bravado.
So you're comfortable with the concept of endeavoring?
I think that's all we can do. Nobody has a lock on the best practices, but I do love the idea of rules of engagement, because these are, and one of the things you talk about, and it's a big one, is this issue of an engagement letter, which I see in fiduciaries, CPAs,
right,
attorneys, but I don't see it in our practice with producers and advisors.
Exactly. I had the privilege for Kim O'Brien in a NAFA webinar talk about the rules of engagement, whereby through a communication that's acknowledged by the client, by the prospect sitting across with you, that an understanding is reached, what you as a producer are going to deliver, how it's going to be delivered, and how that client is going to, in effect, confirm that that's the expectation. I hate to go to the side of the coin, but if I'm sitting here with a file and I'm looking to bring a complaint or an action against someone, and I'm flipping through that folder and I come across that engagement letter, all of a sudden I got to sit back and say, oh, I need to navigate through this now, and can it really do that?
I think one of the things that we're trying to do is set up this idea called the engagement letter. And if you say, Steve, I don't even know how to write one, I even know how to craft it, if you'll write me at thebiz@brokersalliance.com or just call me, I'll go ahead and send you our basic rules of engagement and a little bit of what we call the letter of engagement that you can look at for your client. And remember, you can watch all our shows, this and the entire series this week, at www.brokersalliance.com. As soon as you come to our homepage, hit the red on demand button, and when we come back,
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
companies in our business are always touting service, products, and underwriting. And we do that too. But here's the difference. Now enter the world of the elite producer with a value package that cuts us out of the pack. A BD that approves social media marketing of non-FINRA products and doesn't take an override. With the best competition desk in the industry, and for our loyal producers, a true group health plan. No one offers that. Brokers Alliance does. Well, welcome back to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm Steve Savant, your host. I'm with David F. Sterling. We're talking about the rules of engagement in our building your business and protecting your practice. And we're actually adding a new feature to our first contact protocol. I kind of like this. The letter of engagement. The pros do it, the fiduciaries do it. I think it's time that advisors and producers do it. So walk me through why this is so important, because I actually interpreted what you said as kind of an insulating factor for producers to have a letter of engagement.
You know, that's an interesting concept you bring up, to insulate. You know, there's a protective element to it. I don't have to belabor the point about the compliance issues, the regulations. Right. You know, we got more gators out there looking to take us out than you can imagine. More to the point, there's the other element. When you are able to take control of what the client relationship is going to look like, when you are able to define what's that going to comprise, it's tough to poke holes through it. Because I think that's what we're evolving to as a professional, whether it's regulations or litigations, bringing this to the forefront. It's also a huge opportunity. So it's not just the protective shield you're putting up. I think you're redefining the client relationship in a way that enables you to expand the opportunity. Because the other thing you're getting is, you at the signing of that engagement letter, you're getting buy-in. The client is in effect saying, I understand, I agree, we're moving forward.
Well, I like this idea of setting expectations. Client expectations, they're getting it. I mean, I remember when we started going through our RIAs back in the day, and we had to write this huge anthology inside our ADVs so that we could explain how we're going to talk to our clients, what's the charges for it, what do we charge, is it hourly, is it quarterly, what kind of billing, are we doing money management? All this was in there, but we did never, I can't remember ever actually crafting a actual first contact letter of engagement.
Well, there's another side. You just mentioned something. I hope I don't go off the mark too much. There's another positive feature to this. The industry, the time is ripe for producers as professionals to start defining what we do, what we're capable of delivering. This is a great first step to articulate that, not only to our individual clients, but to the marketplace as a whole. Actually, it's flexing the muscle a little bit that we have embedded in our industry with the high caliber people such as yourself. I hope you don't mind.
I'll take it.
Take it. Done. Won't happen again. But the other side, I think the other side of it is when we start exhibiting those elements that are able to give us that perception, I want to be more professional than they are. Now, okay, that's a lofty statement, but we are really getting control of what our profession is about. I'm tired of other folks defining that for us and being defensive. I'd like to be more assertive. Pardon the use of the word aggressive. It's part of my personality, I suppose. It's time.
Well, tomorrow we're going to talk all about this. What is your ID in the marketplace? Because I think that's a huge issue. If you had to give me a few bullet points on what do you think should be included in a letter of engagement, and is there a priority to it? Do you have a chronology and do you have a few bullet points?
Oh, I think I'd like to go to the bullet point route because the beauty of it is it can be tailored to the client situation. And yes, when you have these bullet points, what is the purpose of our engagement? I'm not saying that you write that out, but what are we trying to accomplish? What are we going to utilize? What's available to us as resource-wise that will enable us to accomplish what what your desired outcome looks like? What are some of the tasks that will be performed? What are my obligations to you and how I might communicate with you or not, and how we're going to interact? And by the way, client, here are your obligations to me, because I think clients can understand that they're not just turning their life over to you. Basically what they're saying is, we're rolling up our sleeves together. Now, as the professional producer, we're taking on more of the responsibility, but we're saying, client, for me to do what I can do best on your behalf, this is what I need for you. Let's chat about that, and let's memorialize that a little bit.
I noticed that we used to take, and we still do this. I mean, when we take documents away from a home, we're giving them a full receipt of everything that we've taken, or I'm doing copies right on the spot. So I'm gathering intel, I'm gathering and harvesting client data because I'm going to need it if I'm going to achieve a goal, and I'm going to tell them, here are my resources available, and I'm wondering, I'm just curious, should I limit myself to my area and not try to be this broad general practitioner? That's the debate today. Should I really carve myself out as an expert on a little area, or no, stay general?
That's a tough question. That's really tough. It gets into another area that we've sometimes have discussed, but it does go back to creating the expectation. I think it is just getting a bit dangerous when you try to stray too far from what you do extremely well. That doesn't mean, though, you can't engage a dialogue to demonstrate your awareness of other elements that, as an example, you might not be licensed to address. That does not mean, though, you can't bring it up as topics up for discussion so that you have demonstrated to the client that you are aware of other things. It's just like this. If I go to a heart surgeon and I say, basically, oh, by the way, I happen to have a broken leg. Would you mind taking care of that too? Well, the heart surgeon is going to say, there's things about a broken leg I may understand, but on the other hand, that's not what I'm going to deliver, and that's what you should not expect from me.
Yeah, later on this week, we're going to talk about non-FINRA agents talking about securities. We're going to sort all that out. That's going to be a show. You won't want to miss it. Again, if you want to watch our shows, this show or all our shows, www.brokersalliance.com. That's the Buzz on the Biz for today. Get in the zone, the business insurance zone.
The Biz is brought to you by Brokers Alliance, a national leader in insurance products, support services, and educational workshops. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.